Many years ago, in the heart of a bustling African town, there lived a 16-year-old boy named Ifa, born into a struggling family. Poverty had followed him like a shadow since birth. Life for them wasn't just hard, it was heartbreaking. Their meals were a desperate patchwork of whatever they could afford. On some nights, dinner was nothing more than fufu and water mixed with pepper. Sometimes, they survived on just sugar stirred in warm water, but Ifa had dreams, big ones, not childish fantasies, but burning ambitions that kept him awake at night. He didn't just want to survive, he wanted to build something better for himself, his mother, and his father. So, he did what many boys his age couldn't endure. He went to the market and began carrying heavy loads on his head for strangers, under the scorching sun, across long distances, with dust clinging to his worn-out slippers and torn clothes. He labored, his reward, just a few coins at the end of the day. But to him, those coins were golden, because now his family could afford to eat properly, sometimes even twice a day. Even when his body broke down under the weight of exhaustion and illness, he kept going. Every ache, every cough, every dizzy spell was worth it if it meant his family would eat. His mother sold vegetables by the roadside, often returning home with barely 1,000 in total sales. That amount could only buy a few cups of rice or oil. His father, a bricklayer, spent months without any work. When he did find jobs, they were small contracts with barely enough pay to sustain them for a week. Despite his suffering, Ifa matured faster than his peers. He never blamed his parents or his fate. He knew no one chooses the family they're born into. But he clung to one thing like air: hope, the hope of a better tomorrow. Then, one fateful morning, on his way to the market clad in his usual ragged shirt and slippers, he noticed something strange. A vacancy sign posted outside a large electronics store. It stopped him in his tracks. His heart raced. Could this be the opportunity he had prayed for? He stood there, staring. His clothes were dirty, his hair unkempt, and the smell of sweat from yesterday's hustle still clung to him. Who would even allow me inside, let alone give me a job? He whispered. But then he remembered something his mother once told him: fear only keeps a man in bondage, but faith can break any door open. So, instead of walking away, he walked in. Inside, he met a young salesboy named Amika. And welcoming. Amika looked him up and down but didn't laugh or turn him away. Please, Ifa began, ignore what I'm wearing. I was on my way to the market when I saw the sign. I carry loads for a living, that's why I look this way. But I am hardworking and honest. Please, is the vacancy still open? Amika was silent for a moment, then nodded. Yes, one of our staff just left. We're looking for a replacement. But, honestly, our boss might not consider you dressed like this. I understand, Ifa said, swallowing his pride. But please, help me. Talk to your boss. Even if I have to clean the shop or work without pay for the first week, just let me prove myself. My family depends on me. Amika saw the desperation in his eyes and said, wait here, let me speak to my boss. Ifa sat, watching the seconds crawl by. The minutes felt like hours. He looked at the time and calculated that he had already lost out on 200 he could have earned at the market. Still, something told him to wait. His mother's voice echoed again in his mind. A bird in hand is better than 10 in the bush. Doors that speak truth back in the manager's office. Amika approached the boss, a stern-faced man known for his sharp instincts and nonsense attitude. He greeted respectfully and said, Sir, there's someone here who wants to fill the vacant salesboy position. Great, the boss said, lighting up. It's hard to find willing workers these days. Bring him in. But Amika hesitated. Wait, what's the issue? The boss asked, narrowing his eyes. Sir, he's not dressed very well. The boss frowned. What does that mean? Amika sighed. He's wearing tattered clothes, slippers. He smells a little. He was on his way to the market to carry loads. The boss groaned. Amika, why raise my hopes like this? I said I need a salesboy, not someone who looks like he crawled out of the gutter. But sir, Amika insisted, his spirit is calm. He's polite. He made a strong impression on me. The boss paused, then sighed. Everyone has a story. Some are so heartbreaking they make your own problems feel small. Your right, life is unfair. Bring him in. Let me speak to him myself. Out in the waiting area, Ifa was becoming anxious. Amika had been gone too long. He was sure they had dismissed him silently, the way people often do when they don't want to say no directly. He looked down at his worn clothes and whispered, At least I tried. Let me go back before the market is empty. Just then, Amika emerged and said, "Follow me." Those two words struck Ifa like a miracle. His heart beat fast as he walked toward the office. He tried to fix his shirt and rub some dust off his feet, but nothing could hide the pungent odor of sweat clinging to him. He stepped into the office, and the moment he entered, the boss covered his nose. "My friend, I'm sorry, but this smell is something else. Are you trying to suffocate me?" the boss said, half joking, half serious. Aoife looked down, embarrassed. "I'm sorry, sir. I came straight from the street. I didn't want to lose the opportunity." The boss chuckled, despite himself. "It's all right. I won't lie to you, I can't even breathe properly right now. But I've decided to employ you." Aoife looked up in shock. "Sir, yes. You will resume tomorrow. I'll be paying you 30,000 monthly." Aoife could hardly breathe. His whole life, his family had never touched that kind of money at once. His father earned 1,500 per day. Days he found work and rarely worked for more than a week straight. His mother barely made 1,000 over several days selling vegetables. Before he could say thank you, the boss reached into his drawer and handed him 1,000. "Take this. Go buy soap and wash your clothes, please. You owe everyone who will work near you a pleasant smell. We can't be polluting each other, right?" Aoife smiled widely, bowed, and said over and over, "Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir." He wasn't offended. Not at all. The boss had spoken the truth. The only thing that rang in his ears was, "You're employed. You'll be paid 30,000. Outside the shop, Amika saw him walking away, glowing. But then, surprisingly, Aoife turned around and came back. He walked straight to the wooden board where the vacancy was written and began wiping it clean. Amika laughed. "Why are you cleaning that off?" Aoife grinned. "My brother, I don't want to come tomorrow and hear someone else got the job. The boss said he only needed one person, and I've taken the spot. Let me seal it well." They both laughed, and Amika patted him on the back. "You're smart, Aoife. I like your spirit." That evening, Aoife returned home. His mother, seeing him arrive earlier than usual, was worried. "My son, are you sick again? Are you okay?" she asked. Aoife shook his head with a beaming smile. "Mummy, I'm not going to the market anymore." Her heart sank. "Aoife, why? If you stop now, how will we eat? I know it's hard, but let me join you so it will be easier." Aoife gently held her shoulders. "No, Mama. That work is too hard. You'll fall sick, and we don't even have money for drugs. I'm not quitting because I'm tired, I'm quitting because I got a better job," she gasped. "Where? Who gave you a job?" he said. "You know that big electronic shop, C.H. Sons, the one near the junction on the way to the market?" "Yes, they had a vacancy. I walked in and Mama, they hired me. I'm starting tomorrow." Her mouth fell open, just like that. "Yes, and you won't believe the salary, 30,000 every month." She burst into tears. "Aoife, the last time I saw that much money, at once, was before you were born. Oh God, thank you." Aoife sat beside her and said, "We are climbing out of this hole, Mama, I promise. Even Papa will be happy. This is our turning point. 2 shirts, 1 destiny." The next morning, Aoife woke up before dawn. For the first time in his life, he wasn't waking up to rush to the market. Today was different. He was stepping into a new life. He cleaned his clothes thoroughly with the 1,000 his boss gave him. They still looked worn, but they smelled fresh. His mother tried to press them with a broken iron that barely heated up, but they did their best. He arrived at the electronics shop 45 minutes early, standing outside like a soldier awaiting parade. Amika, arriving a bit late, laughed in surprise. "Oh boy, you serious?" "No, be small," he shouted, shaking Aoife's hand. Aoife grinned. "Who know, get helper, suppose get sense." They laughed together, and Amika opened the shop. They dusted shelves, arranged products, and prepared for the day's sales. Amika guided him, showing him the ropes, how to talk to customers, how to handle wires, price goods, record items. Aoife was a fast learner, and more importantly, he was obedient after the first week. Amika noticed something. "Aoife," he said one morning, "do you have any other clothes?" Aoife hesitated. "I only have 2 shirts and 1 trouser." That afternoon, Amika handed him a plastic bag. "Take this, 5 polo shirts, 3 trousers. They're mine, but clean, still good." Aoife took the bag, stared into it, and suddenly began to cry. Hey, why are you crying?" Amika asked. "I'm not crying because they're second-hand," Aoife said. "I'm crying because this is the first time I've ever received a gift. For so long, I thought I was cursed. I believed that I was meant to suffer. But now I see, maybe I just hadn't met the right people. Amika's heart broke. You're not cursed, Ifa. You're chosen. God is just getting started with you. That very day, two young boys entered the shop to buy gadget speakers, TVs, laptops, nearly 5 million. They were barely older than Aoife and wore designer clothes. They paid in cash and left a 10,000 tip for the workers. Ameca split it and gave Aoife 5,000. Aoife's eyes widened. Just like that, yes, Amika chuckled. Sometimes I go home with 15,000 just from tips. Aoife nearly shouted. God, this is a new era. Thank you, I didn't let my ragged clothes stop me that day. But then, curiosity hit him. Bro, those guys are so young, how do they make this kind of money? Amika's smile vanished. He leaned close and whispered, remove your eyes from their pockets. Some of them would trade places with you if they could. Not everything that shines is gold. Some paths are dark, dangerous. Aoife nodded slowly, unsure he understood, but grateful for the warning. That night, Aoife couldn't stop thinking about it. He remembered how the boys smiled, their chains shining, their perfume strong. He remembered the ease with which they spent 5 million. And he remembered the way Amika's eyes darkened when he warned him. But temptation doesn't knock just once. A week later, one of the young boys returned alone to buy more electronics. Aoife attended to him politely. The boy was warm, funny, generous, and again, he tipped him generously. After the sale, Aoife gathered his courage. Sir, may I speak with you for just 10 minutes? Outside, the young man agreed. They walked a short distance away from the shop. Ifa spoke from his heart. Brothers, I admire your life. My father recently fell from a construction building. He's in the hospital now. I used all my savings to pay for his bills, but he's still not improving. I want to move him to a better hospital, but I'm broke. Please, show me the way. The young man looked at him carefully. Are you sure? Yes, I'm ready. Whatever it takes. The man asked again. Are you sure? Yes. 100 times, yes. He reached into his pocket and handed Aoife a small note with an address. Meet me here tomorrow. Alone. I've thanked him repeatedly, convinced his breakthrough had come. Meanwhile, back at the shop, something else was unfolding. The boss called Amika into his office. My friend called. He wants to reward 2 faithful workers, people who have never stolen from him and are loyal. The boss continued. I'm overwhelmed with inventory and numbers. I trust your judgment. Who should we recommend? Amika said, if the man has the means, he should set them up in business. They've been faithful in another man's field, succeed in their own. The boss smiled. Excellent. I'll act fast. Thank you. As Amika left the office, the boss leaned back in his chair. Another confirmation. He thought, I must obey before I miss this divine opportunity. That night, Aoife's heart was racing. He had planned to skip work the next day and go to the address. But something troubled his spirit. As he lay awake, Amika came and sat beside him. He said, I need to tell you something I've never told anyone. Aoife looked up surprised. I'm 28 years old, the last born in a family of 6. Poverty swallowed us. My sisters married early. One of my brothers vanished. I was desperate to help my family. One day, I met a native doctor who promised wealth. But the price was steep. He made me sleep overnight in a cemetery, naked under a red and black cloth. By morning, I was changed, possessed. Spirits entered me that night. My laptop became magic. I made money. My family became rich, but I couldn't sleep. Nightmares tormented me. I begged the native doctor. He said it was normal. Then one day, he told me a sacrifice was needed. He'd handle it himself. 3 days later, my beloved mother collapsed and died. She was healthy the night before. I knew I had killed her. That day, money lost its taste. I withdrew all my savings, sold my cars, and returned to the native doctor to thank him. Then I found a real church, confessed, and went on a 7-day dry fast. If you saw me during deliverance, you'd think I was an animal, snake, cat, dog. God delivered me. Since then, I vowed never again. I earn little now, but I sleep well. Peace is priceless. Amika placed his hand on Aoife's shoulder. You're better than you think. Suppress every urge to take a dark path. Just a little more patience. Aoife broke down. I was supposed to meet that boy tomorrow. He gave me an address. I was ready. But now, Amika smiled. God is watching over you. Don't go, please. The path he almost took the next morning. Aoife woke up with mixed emotions. The address the boy had given him sat folded beneath his pillow like a secret calling to his soul. He held it in his hand and stared at it for several minutes. Something inside him whispered, "Don't go." But another voice replied, "This could be your only chance." He closed his eyes and whispered, "God, show me the truth." That morning, he chose not to visit the address. He went to work instead. He was quiet, thoughtful, his mind torn between gratitude and temptation. He didn't tell Amika, but his heart was heavy with what could have happened. Just before noon, their boss called both Aoife and Amika into his office. The moment they entered, he handed each of them a brown envelope. "Sir," they asked in confusion. "Those are bank checks," the boss said. 2 million naira each. Their mouths dropped open. "You both have been faithful," he continued. "And my friend wanted to reward loyal staff. I chose you. Today, I'm taking you to your own shops. They're not huge, but they're yours to grow." They stood speechless, frozen. The boss laughed. "Let's go. Today marks your beginning." He drove them himself first to Amika's new electronics shop, then to Aoife's. Both were located in thriving markets, well built, clean, fully stocked. Ifa stood in the center of his new shop and felt tears fill his eyes. Just a week ago, he nearly sold his soul. Today, he was a business owner. As they drove back, the boss looked at him and said, "You know, Aoife, the day I met you, I didn't see your clothes. I saw your spirit. You're a giant, and giants are born in deep places." Aoife nodded. "Thank you, sir. I will never forget." That same evening, Aoife went to the hospital to check on his father. But as he arrived, he saw a crowd gathered near the gates. He asked someone what happened, and they said, a young man pulled off his clothes and began shouting, running mad. Out of curiosity, Aoife approached the crowd. His heart skipped. It was the same young man who gave him the address. He was naked, laughing, screaming, beating his chest like a man possessed. Aoife gasped. People whispered, maybe he did rituals, and ran mad. Aoife felt like he would faint. He stepped back slowly. He remembered Amika's words, that path always ends in destruction. God had saved him by a second. He dropped to his knees beside the hospital gate and whispered, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for giving me ears to hear Amika. Thank you for stopping me." When he entered the hospital, the nurse on duty pulled him aside. "Your father passed this morning." For a moment, Aoife said nothing. Then, shockingly, he began to laugh. The nurse stepped back. "Are you okay?" He nodded. "Yes. I almost gave my soul away for a man who wouldn't have survived. Now I understand. God, thank you for not allowing me waste my destiny." He went home, hugged his mother, and said, "Mama, you've tried. Rest now. God has opened the door for us." He showed her the 50,000 his boss had earlier given for hospital bills. "Let me return it. My father is gone." He rushed back to the shop. But when he arrived, he saw something strange. There was a new vacancy post outside. Fear gripped him. Have they replaced me? He wondered. He ran inside. "Amika, what's happening? Why is there a vacancy post outside?" Amika shook his head. "I don't understand it either. I'm as confused as you," Aoife panicked. "What if we're being fired?" He went straight to their boss. "Sir, I saw the vacancy board. Did I do something wrong?" The boss looked up. "What? Oh no, don't worry about that. That's for a different branch I'm opening. You're not going anywhere." Relieved, Aoife bowed his head. "Thank you, sir. I also came to tell you. My father passed away this morning." The boss's eyes softened. "Oh no. I'm so sorry, Aoife. I also wanted to return the 50,000 you gave for his hospital." The boss waved his hand. "No, keep it. Use it for burial, or your mother's care." "Thank you, sir. You've earned a week off, Aoife." But Aoife shook his head. "Please, let me keep coming. Work will keep my mind focused, and I don't want to lose this chance." The boss smiled. "You're rare, Aoife. Very rare. You'll go far." Within the 1-week break, Aoife's father was buried. It wasn't grand, there was no money for that, but it was peaceful, and it gave them closure. When he resumed, he met 2 new salesboys. For a moment, insecurity tried to crawl back. Am I being replaced? But by noon, the boss called both him and Amika into the office again. There on the desk were keys, and more checks. The boss stood. "Today, your names are being written on the front of shops. These are your shops. Your names, your legacies." Both young men stared at him. speechless again. The boss laughed. Do you remember the day I called you into my office, Amy? Yes, sir, Amika replied. That's the day God told me to do this. I'm not doing this because you're apprentices, no. You're my employees, but I must obey. If I don't, I may be disobedient to my destiny. He pointed at both of them. Go and do exploits. Make me proud. They fell on their knees and cried, Thank you, sir. From street boy to estate owner with trembling hands and grateful hearts, Aoife and Amika stepped into their new shops, their own shops. The signs above the entrances bore their names boldly, painted in bright blue: IFA Electronics World and Amika Tech Hub. Customers began to come in, not just because of the goods they sold, but because of the honesty and warmth they gave. Word spread. In just 6 months, their shops grew, their savings grew, their confidence grew. By the end of the first year, Aoife had saved 1 million. He used it not on himself but to establish his mother in a full vegetable business. The woman, who once cried at night because her son carried loads in the market, now sat behind her own market stall, smiling proudly. Amika also began building a small house for his aging father and mother. The two friends supported each other like brothers, encouraging, correcting, dreaming together. Every December, they made it a ritual to visit their old boss. And each time, they never came empty-handed. They brought foodstuffs, cash gifts, and handwritten notes of appreciation. One December evening, they sat with him, all drinking malt under a large mango tree behind the shop. Sir, Aoife said, Do you know why we always return? The boss looked up, smiling. Because you didn't see our clothes, you saw our souls. He smiled wider. And now look at you both, evidence that obedience to God is never a waste. A new dream. With their businesses thriving, Aoife and Amika pooled their savings together. They purchased a large plot of land on the outskirts of the city. It was bushy, undeveloped, but they saw a future in it. Together, they began building not just houses, but homes, a small estate, safe, clean, community-based. They named it EA Estate, E for Aoife, A for Amika. At the entrance stood a signboard that read, Built by grace, strengthened by obedience, grown through pain. They employed others, boys like Aoife used to be. They didn't care how their workers dressed, they only cared how their hearts beat. Love and new life the same year. They both married. Aoife met a girl in church who was passionate about helping the poor. She didn't care about money, only integrity. Her name was Deborah. Amika met his wife in a business seminar. A smart, God-fearing woman who helped him structure his finances better. Her name was Kiamaka. Their weddings were simple, joyful, and powerful. Their old boss sat in the front row of both ceremonies, tears streaming from his eyes. I raised them like sons, he said, and now I'm being honored like a father. The legacy begins today. Aoife and Amika run one of the largest mid-size electronics chains in their region, but they never forgot where they came from. They created a scholarship foundation to help boys from the streets go back to school. They visit orphanages. They run a mentorship program titled Nothing Wrong with You, helping young people discover that poverty is not a curse, just a test. Every December, they gather over 300 boys and girls for a Christmas celebration where gifts, meals, and stories of hope are shared. A final word to you, dear listener. As this story comes to a close, let me remind you, there is nothing wrong with you. That pain, that delay, that rejection, it is not the end. It is preparation. It is process. Even Aoife, the poor boy who once carried people's loads on his head, almost gave up, almost sold his soul, almost missed his miracle. But he didn't. And because he stayed on the right path, God met him there. So I urge you, stay pure. Be patient, work hard, pray harder, and never judge your future by your current situation. Your story is not over. It's only beginning. And when your season of rising finally comes, let the world know that grace still works. If this story touched you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, because more powerful African tales like this are coming. And please, share this video to remind someone that they're not cursed, they're just in transition. Until next time, stay strong, stay humble, and God bless you.